Good afternoon and welcome to Marshall Met, episode 32. Renee's just running a little late, but we'll be here. And today's subject is Grandmasters and social media generalizations. And we're going to be talking about both of those. We got some questions in, but before that, we are now being promoted in there. And to tell you who it's from is Steve Perlman, Marshall Theory and his website. So here are the books. If you have not seen these, it's Marshall Theory and the workbook. Both are available on Amazon, ebooks. What other formats are there? Yeah, but you can get definitely on Amazon, and again, they come in hard books there, but you can also get the ebook versions too there. And so, what is these really about? It's basically it's a martial arts classic, gone on the old age text of exploring singular stylistic focus on a recipe book of techniques. Instead, Dr. Perlman has authored a first of its kind in a tactics and precepts that cross all boundaries of style. The book truly liberates the reader from the classical mess. I don't care if you're into FMA, traditional karate, Krav Maga, MMA, BJJ, it doesn't matter. Before I tell you about the martial theory and the workbook, if you're up for a challenge, take your understanding to a totally new level. Again, you can find these on Amazon, paperback, ebook, audio formats. In addition to that, there is also the Martial Theory University, which is www.martialtheory.com. And on there, you'll be exposed to discussions. Actually, there's also instructors that have put many instructional videos on there, me included. Definitely check that out. If you mention FMA discussion, you will get a 20% off there. So check it out, martialtheory.com. And without further ado, we're going to be jumping in. If you are watching, tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button. If you have questions, put them in the comment section. I will definitely get to them. Also, if you're interested and you have something to say and you want to come on to there, let me know. I will bring you on. And without further ado, the co-host with the co-most. And that is crazy.
What's happening?
Are you crazy?
I don't know. Maybe mildly eccentric.
Some would construe you as crazy.
Well,
Oh, and everybody, Happy New Year. Hope your 2026 is nothing but prosperous. And look at that. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah,
It's going like crazy.
yeah, absolutely. And we got folks watching. We got Rich Parsons, Maynard. All right. So I'm gonna just segue into let's tackle, I guess, the okay, what defines a grandmaster in your opinion?
I got a bit of a problem with that term. I don't know.
I cannot wait to hear your answer.
Well, I don't know. Grandmaster. What is it? What is it by definition? Like, is it someone who knows everything about the system, and then it goes into is it a scholastic thing where they know everything, or is it does it encompass the fact that they actually fought as well, or did some
I don't think it has nothing to do
realistic
with
training?
fighting. I think it has to do with tenure
Hmm.
and your ability of the understanding of the system, whatever you got grandmaster in. So definitely, I think there's a longevity aspect to it for sure. Able to basically articulate, demonstrate, and teach it. Right.
Yeah, and I think that the problem with that, especially nowadays, is it's like you become an instructor or grandmaster by default, right? I look at some of the people that I know who I would consider masters of their trades, like a guy like Philip Jalna, who became a Tuhan after 20 years of training in Pikiti, and he could tell you everything about the art and how it functions, how the drill actually works, where it came from, what muscles get activated when you do this, and
Mm.
everything else. And then nowadays, it's like the term Tuhan gets kind of pulled out of a Cracker Jack box. It's like, oh, you've been training for 2
Yeah.
years, Tuhan. It's like, um,
New
or
one. Two on or
when I
new one?
when I when I remember when I was coming up and when I was training, even an apprenticeship was not easy. Like usually when people say, "Hey, I'm looking to apprentice in this art," people would kind of like get turned off by that. Like a lot of teachers would be like, "Okay, well, how about if you just focus on training? We'll worry about that later
Yeah.
if it comes to that." And like out of the hundreds of people that I saw in JKD in the early days, um, there's a handful of people that became instructors. I think now people will literally they will when they tell you about their art, it's like, oh, my art does this, and you can be
Mm.
an instructor in so many hours, which to me is also kind of mind blowing, right? It's like, oh, I took a weekend course and now I think it's different the way if people advertise it's like we're going to give you a base for you to build on, and this is you know as you build on this, you can whatever get more points or hours towards your apprenticeship and your instructorship. It's one thing, but to basically say you can now teach police officers, which a former student of mine who went to California and went to a camp. He paid his $2,000, and before he even started, they were asking what his name was and how to spell it, and they're already writing out the certificates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
The weekend.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I think if we're looking at it that way, from the scholastic kind of way, then I would think that a grandmaster would have not a general knowledge, but a complete knowledge of their system.
I would say, yeah, if you're
And
grandmaster, I mean, you not just tenure, but you're able to articulate chronologically, teach it, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that you brought up about the 10-year versus, the 20-year mark for Tuhan, obviously you're seeing guys who are getting it less now, but also one of Seth's question was, like not only what defines a GM, which we're covering now, but why do some have 10 years and then, some it took 20? And the answer to that, and I'll let you answer, is obviously, what is the criteria within that system or the
cha-ching.
structure? Yeah, I mean, or the structure, you know what I mean? Like, but I
Well,
also think there's another, what's that?
what about the people that have reached the pinnacle of their system, then
Yes.
they start their own system, then they create um, board of directors, and their own board of directors gives them the promotion to Grand Master or Master or whatever.
Well, that occurs. Yeah, they have a
That happens a
board.
lot. Like shit, I seen an instructor who reached out to his students and told his students, "Hey, I want to get promoted, but I can't promote myself. Will you guys get together and promote me?"
or nomenclature, like a whatever title, just to set you apart from the student body or whatever. There's two ways to look at this, I think. In other words, if you go in this system and you just join because your initial interest was, I want to do this, there's an interest in me, I want to get in better shape, whatever. And then, you're in it and all of a sudden the Grand Master is bestowed upon you maybe sooner than some might think. I can't, I don't know if you can necessarily blame that person because the internal structure of that, not knowing when you first got in there, and then your award is bestowed upon you. I can't blame the individual for that. In other words, to me, that's more of a perhaps, and I'm not saying it's always a flaw, but that perhaps a system flaw,
But would you agree that nowadays that happens because they might see that person's other value, whether they might be like a media presence or something else? Like I know there's a bunch of groups out there that were actively.
I'm guessing he'll be right back. Um, but Renee was speaking on what the possibility of that is. That was very abrupt, his departure. So I'm thinking maybe he hit a wrong button or something in there. Yeah, so those you're jumping in. Sure enough, he's back. I'm not seeing his face. Ah, there we go.
That was weird. I got kicked off, but I can still see and hear you.
I have no, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, what were
Um,
you saying?
so I said, like sometimes, and what I'm finding again, just from what I'm seeing in groups today, is that they'll go after the fighters and bring them into their groups and promote them just because it makes their organization look better.
Look stronger, bigger,
And then all
more.
of a sudden, those people out of the blue become, um, grandmasters or get a higher rank that they didn't have before. Like I look at someone like Guru Dan, like he's a grandmaster in my opinion. Like he's
100.
his knowledge is crazy, but I think what the other thing that's crazy to me is that his knowledge goes beyond just JKD. Like there's when you go to a seminar, it's not just Jeet Kune Do people that are there. You have people from all different systems that show up. So the fact that they recognize his knowledge
Mm,
to me is one of those things that be like, oh, that's a grandmaster, right? So um, for me, that's kind of like I looked at it as the benchmark, if you will. If you if you have people outside of your system that are recognizing you at that level, then yeah, then absolutely you should be looked at that way.
what about this? I totally agree with you on Guru Dan. I think there's two. In other words, a lot of people look at GM, and I'm not saying this is wrong. They look at the tenure of time. Like, okay, he's been in 20 years, he's promoted people, he's grown the system, he's been an asset, and I'm fine with all that. But what I also look at GM is that I look at ability. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like obviously you have the knowledge base, but the ability, like in my opinion, man, if you get coined a GM, in my opinion, you can do every range. And I'm not saying I'm right because again, the piggyback off what I said mentioned before, if the system is just punching and kicking, and you mastered all that, and you're able to teach it, and again, some piggyback off some of the other reasons, again, you're promoting the system, you grew it, you're teaching, you promoted other instructors. I kind of agree with that also. So I think it's twofold. One, this incredible physical ability, and through demonstration, right, or whatever, and then the second, the knowledge and the tenure. You know what I mean?
But I think my problem when it comes to just using tenure as a benchmark again to be called a GM is where's the quality control?
Yeah, I'm not
Because
disagreeing with you. I just think
that's
it's their
that's
criteria. You know what I
that's the
mean?
other thing, which is I find really funny, is like, oh, everybody's a grandmaster, but it's like, is that just because your peers don't want to embarrass you? You know, it's like when people say, oh, that guy was this was said to me by someone who's in the military. It's like when people started talking about how they were in this special group and that special group, it doesn't mean that they were a good soldier. They were just happened to get into that. And I'm saying, the criteria to get into these groups is pretty high, but it doesn't mean that they were the best at it, right? So
Mm,
um, it's kind of the same thing I find with martial artists. Like it's like, yeah, I'm a grandmaster, and it's like then you watch the move, and it's like people who teach. They're like, oh, I teach part of my curriculum is a kicking art, but they can't raise their foot past their hip.
yeah,
So, like, why are you even mentioning that then? Like if I couldn't swing a stick anymore, I'd say, well, I don't teach that shit anymore. Or I can't because I'm injured or I don't have the ability to, right?
yeah. That's what I mean. I think there's an objective aspect to it, but I also think there's a subjective aspect, and I think the more subjectivity gets in there, then the potential for cloudiness and gray matter, right? Um, like in other words, yeah, for me, it's physical ability and years in.
Yeah.
Like when you're coined a grandmaster, in my opinion, I put any weapon in your hand, and there shouldn't be like, well, or like any range. Like you're fluent in kicking, punching, clinch, ground. Like, but I'm not saying I'm right. That's just my opinion. But I also understand and have respect for like, okay, well, we don't do those things, but he met the criteria. He's been in 20 years. He's grew the system. He teaches it well. We see it in his students. You can't argue that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think part of the other thing I see a lot recently is like everybody talks about the grandmasters that taught them and how they were the favorite and all this other nonsense. And it's just like, man, like, let those people rest and prove yourself without their,
Yeah.
without that.
And come to find out, you talk to many people, and they were all his favorites.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, man.
Hang on the
Especially when it
decade,
comes
and
when it comes to Filipino martial arts, absolutely, man. Like
yeah.
money is a huge motivator for a lot of people in that area.
Oh boy, is it! So I guess it sounds like our definition is there, folks. Folks, if you're watching, chime in. What's your definition of a GM? We're not saying we're right. We're just saying what how we feel. But chime in. What's your definition of somebody that qualifies to be a GM? Let's see what they come in with. Um, but you're definitely
Yeah.
seeing. Um, here's the thing though. Like I don't know if things have gone across the board watered down. There has been some watering down, but I also take in consideration technology, the ability to give information from different vehicles, and that. And so when I see somebody like that, okay, maybe the standard was 20 years, and now but they got it 15 with again the aforementioned more vehicles of transmission information, technology, et cetera, et cetera. But same thing, you're taking that 20 to 10. I don't know if I'm in line with that. You know.
I don't know. I think it's a me personally, just the way I like to think, or the way I think it's definitely it's a money grab, right? And there's not a
Mm,
lot of money in martial arts, and I don't think you can't sell like what I don't think you could sell what a lot of arts did 20 years ago, right? Like especially when it comes to like even like Thai boxing,
yeah.
it had to be a friendly package where you and your family can go. So instead of just having one person who wants to go out there and try it, now you have five or six people in your family that want to go in there. That's if you have a big family. Um, and then, it's you're not going to get hurt and everything's, safe. But it gives you that, I do Thai boxing. Like, it's just the way I look at it. It's just that I think it's just it got so watered down, and all of a sudden people are now calling themselves masters because they have to, because it makes it more appealing on their resume. It's like when I watch these videos of people doing like stick stuff and they slow it down in slow motion for the last 3 seconds and they do this cool move, and then everybody like looks at each other like, "Wow, that was fantastic," and it's like you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Remember?
Here's another thing too. And Badger's correct as well as Maynard. They adopted obviously the traditional martial arts titles per Badger, which I think, okay, here we go. There's no such thing as a GM master, it's just mastery of the subject. And everything after that is ego, money, or both, right? Like how to go from master to grandmaster. Like when did that, like I'd be interested to know like about what timeline that came into play. I'm going to guess 90s if I had to guess, or right. Um, the only students call themselves master, therefore their teachers value better. Yeah, like yeah, I don't know. Like it's, I guess, I suppose if you have a system, you have a master. They made a couple masters, maybe they're 10th degree, and they made a couple fifth degrees. Now, of course, they can't all be 10th, or they could be. So now you make the grand master. I don't know.
Well, like I said, there are people out there who I know who were masters, and then all of a sudden they started their own association up,
And now
and
GM,
then their own people who that person is the head of told them you're going to promote these people to master, and guess what? I'm the grandmaster.
Is that more in the traditional art side of it, or you're seeing this as well in other like FMA, for instance?
I see it. I'm kind of seeing it across the board. It's again, I don't know what it's all about. It definitely has to do with the ego.
Fame and
Like,
fortune.
it's like you and I can't be in the same room and be teachers. I have to be the grand teacher.
Right.
You know,
There has to be degrees of separation, right? I guess.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because I look at it in the trades. Like in the trades, you have your regular like red seal, like for carpentry or for plumbing or for electrical, and then you have to study and run and do tests to get your master license. So you are a master carpenter or a master or whatever. But if you fuck up enough, they actually will pull that license.
Yeah, pull it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why, for me, I always say like, where is the standard? Where is the, like how many times have you and I spoken in private about some of the things that we've seen and just like either laugh or say, how is this person getting away with this?
Yeah. Viewer said many call themselves master, but not the five of them can even be a good student. Yeah. Rich. This should be pretty good. Rich is a. All right. One needs to know the system completely. Depth. They need to have produced instructors and black belts, also master level instructors. Fair. Outside of recognitions, a person came to visit Mangnong Ted Buat, and they spent the night with me, and we played and trained. He kept calling me master. The next day, with Ted, he kept calling me master in front of Ted. And the others and I kept trying to correct him. Ted putting his hands on mine. He said, it's okay. As to give our titles, he said it came from outside peers. To me, I think one needs all of them. I think that's fair. What Rich is saying, in other words, internally, but others that come to maybe cross train, they see you and they see your depth of knowledge and your ability, and I think so. I think there's some
Well, that's what
fairness
I
in it.
was that's what I was saying about Mark, right? Not Mark. Sorry, Guru Dan. Mark.
Yeah,
Uh, is that, people from a plethora of different arts will go out there and look at him and recognize him, right?
right. I'm just catching up with the comments here. They're rolling in. We got don't forget senior grandmaster or Supreme. Yeah, I know. Definitely too many times. We got Arrow, PG Arrow here. Oh, you want black on me? Oh, you're back. No stand. There are no stands in FMA. Yeah, I can't completely disagree with you on that. What is a master level? That's where we're. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? What deems it? Me and Renee kind of gave our opinions. I firmly believe, obviously, I think tenure has something to do with it. Knowledge of system, you grew the system, much like Rich was saying. But I think ability, like your ability, it just, in other words, it's not even question. You know what I mean? Like your ability, right?
Yeah, like even if I think part of it too is how are you evolving the art? Like, are you doing something to, I'm not saying you have to, um, me make sure I phrase this properly. I think if you are able to, know everything about your art and teach it, but then evolve it to
Yeah,
make it maybe more current, I think that's also shows, that you've actually understand what you're studying
I agree because you contribute to it.
and
You
are able.
enhanced it. You know what I mean? Like you brought something. Maybe you brought a different way of doing the drills that the students and you saw the success with that. Or yeah, absolutely.
Like one thing I thought was really cool, and a lot of guys kind of say it, but I remember you were interviewing Craig Mason, and he said, the one thing that he really learned through Dog Brothers was to apply what he was learning in his modern niece to make it functional in that environment. And I thought, man, that's really cool for someone to, admit that and say it. And to me, that's the kind of like, and he's got a really high rank up there as well in modern niece. So to me, Sorry. What are you doing? Sorry, my dog's trying to get in the garbage. Uh,
Oh, and by the way,
um,
that's a good
so,
point. Like he's up there. I can't quote you, but I know he's at least ninth. He's up there for
mhm.
sure. Greg. Um, yeah. So do we coin Greg Mason at GM?
I
uh,
definitely, I think, if I look at
maybe
not just his
Latinos.
fighting, not his actually, not just his fighting ability, but um, I've never heard anything bad about the guy.
Same here.
And I think that should be something that should be considered as well, right? Like how many times do you hear the guy's a grandmaster, but he's a piece of crap,
And
or
he doesn't have any students. Yeah, he doesn't
like,
have
yeah,
any students. He
he's a
just
grandmaster, but he sure likes to chase his underage students. It's like,
ooh, you can't imagine it was created by a certain part of the history that you can't evolve a martial arts system that was created during a certain part of history that you will never experience. I don't necessarily agree with that. If I can show you how to punch better, and I'm part of a striking system. To me, that would be an evolution.
mhm.
So I don't know if I fully agree with that, Maynard. Um, but folks, anything else on jam? Because our second topic, which I think actually is going to maybe take longer, social media generalizations, and how that can basically kind of blindly in the blind at times, if depending on what has been said, and if you have a following and they kind of believe what you say for whatever various reasons or reason, uh, how that can impact. In other words, misinformation that's just going down a conveyor belt because it's you know Renee's got dog issues. Um, she getting the garbage.
She tried to. She's smart. She like takes little pieces and she hides them in her bed, and she looks at
Still
me
garbage.
like, "Oh, how did this get here?"
Uh,
Keep going. I'm
and,
listening. I'm in. I'm still
okay,
in.
okay, I can I can hear you. Martial arts is not punch and kick. Okay, then what is it? So why? I guess I would wait to hear how you would define punch and kick.
Martial
Um,
arts is not punch and kick, but it's also not certificates and bullshit, right?
um, who cares how well you can punch if the fight is not well, yeah, not, but you're changing context, Maynard. I'm talking about in a general sense martial arts. If you evolved it, I use the example, if I evolved the striking portion of the martial art and there was an evolution there, that would constitute looking at the criteria for GM. We're not talking about actual fight. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, should we segue and should we stay on the GM part or should we segue into the social media
Well,
generalization?
yeah. Just sorry. One thing about evolution, if we want to go back, Manderson's still part of it, and I've been to many gatherings. Filipino martial arts evolved tremendously, as far as I'm concerned. When the Dawn brothers showed up, it changed a lot.
Yeah,
So um, a lot of people had to adapt and get rid of a lot of garbage.
yeah.
So and
Or,
that, if you look at it from that perspective, it had to evolve in order for it to be functional.
the individuals had to evolve if they wanted to keep going without okay. So
Yeah,
very yeah. So again, an overall evolution as far as the system and art, but also individual evolution, right? To be able to, I guess, compete, right?
absolutely.
All right. Um, if nobody else has anything to say on the GM,
They can jump back and forth if they want. That's fine. I mean, we can just move forward.
yeah. All right. So here's my thing. Why I wanted to talk about this. Um, Generalizations that are made in social media by folks that might not have spent enough time in the system to even make a critique, but yet they'll post something and they have a following where now these folks are going to take for granted what this person said. And now you have more misinformation going down this. And I'm seeing that a lot lately, a real lot lately. And I think it's a disservice to the community, in my opinion.
Well, it's dangerous. It's irresponsible.
Could be that too. Could be that too.
And again, I think part of the problem is it's done for
Very
views
true.
or
Mhm.
for likes, right? Like how many times it's like how many times have I heard from somebody who's like, "Oh, did you see how many likes I got on that?" And it's like who fucking cares? Like,
But the
like
dopamine. So I think it's a great point you made. I think there's a definitely a corresponding effect that I'm going to be doing this, and I'm not saying they don't care if they're right or wrong. But I think there is a side dish of the likes and the attention. I think that's fair, right? As opposed to like not really caring whether they're saying is valid or not. Sadly.
my favorite are the reaction videos to something that they have absolutely no business even commenting on. And it's like it's just so far-fetched sometimes. It's actually like it's cringy for me. It's actually embarrassing because some of these people I know well, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
and I don't maybe
No.
maybe I'm to blame because sometimes I definitely comment on things that maybe I shouldn't be commenting on. But man, it's crazy.
It is. It is. But the thing is, though, where it's detrimental is you make a generalization, and this happened very recently, and I had to jump in. And I jumped in really with tact, respect. I didn't attack the person. I just gave them a very respectful, uh, my opinion, based on the fact that I have years in the system. And it's very dangerous to make generalizations because the audience now is going to draw conclusions from if they're following you. You know what I mean? So I don't think enough people sometimes are stepping in, to be honest. Happy Year, New Year, gents. I'm just catching up with the comments. Reaction videos are a cheap ass way to piggyback on someone. Yeah, that's very true, Badger. Very true. He's a good guy, huh, Badger? He's okay. You're just. Mm.
All right, I guess.
Chili dog, wherever, I don't know, where does he live? Ontario, or where does he live?
He's in Ottawa.
Ottawa, above Ontario. I'm starting to get Canada down better now geographically. Um, but so that actually, like, the GM was interesting, and I yeah, but we're really these generalizations on social media. They really, I have to be honest, they really bother me, and maybe they shouldn't, but they really bother me.
What bothers me is that people who before me have never had, I don't know, maybe experience in certain things, all of a sudden now are experts that talk about experiences that, you know, they would never go through in their lives, right? And it just like, or when the people start telling me, there's been times when people start like, oh, I study this medical graph and I do this and I study how to stab people there. And I'm like, where do you live? It's like, and they tell me like they live in
Fairfield County, Connecticut, Greenwich.
like one of the like the richest neighborhoods in in the country. It's like what are you worried about? Like that you like have to even talk like that. It just makes you sound like an idiot.
Yeah, it really irks me, and I have to find a better way of negotiating this because when I say it really irks me, I mean like, and I'm not afraid to admit this. It really affects like the rest of my day sometimes because it really does. Like there's like I'm a pretty easygoing guy and all that, but there's certain things like that when you are just for likes and all that, and to get your cronies to follow you, you're putting something out there that it's not entirely true. You know what I mean? And now you're having this influence on people's perception because of what you're putting on there because they follow you. Like I really have a big issue with that. If I already haven't said that.
No, you and I talk about that quite a bit. It's just like it's like I said, it's funny to me how sometimes people just start taking themselves very, very seriously about something that, they just started doing and some of the things they talk about, whether it be like firearms or blades or combat or it. And again, I'm not sorry, this is driving me crazy. My lens is dirty here. It's driving me bananas.
It's kind of stimulating when you're just going back. Here's a good
Um,
question that kind of parallels what you're talking about. Seth is asking, what defines expert? Like here, before you answer, like for instance, people say, well, you know, somebody said like, well, no, Dean's an expert in night. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not. I'm not an expert in. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things I don't think you can be like an expert in. Like, I'm an expert in night defense. So really, you never get touched by it. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a hard one to answer without pissing people off. Like if I go back to the trades, I consider myself like to be an expert when it comes to doors and whatnot. Not just hanging them, I can build them. I can I can go raw material to a finished product.
From a
Um,
door, really?
yeah, so I have
That's
no
pretty
problems doing
incredible. I
so.
didn't know
I,
that. That's pretty incredible. I
I
thought you
have
were
no
an
problem.
expert at hammering things like people or
Yeah. Um, But again, there's like I think there's going to be certain aspects of your speciality that, especially when it comes to martial arts, that you're just not going to experience or be able to speak of without actually having experienced it. So, sometimes if I'm at a seminar and I'm teaching something that that didn't happen to me, I'll reference the person who it happened to and say, this is not me. This is not my information. This is what they did.
mm,
But what I'm finding a lot of people nowadays. And again, please keep in mind, I'm a jaded martial arts person, um, I just get pissed off a lot of pretty much everything I see. Is they start talking about, this is how much time you have to live if someone stabs you, and this is where you want to stab them, and this
mm.
and this scenario, you do this, and it's like I think it's good to maybe have some sort of scenario play and figure things out, but don't say it's the gospel.
Yeah, I just think the word expert. I've always had. It's always been problematic with me because, like, I saw this one guy he posted. This is going back some time, but I remember it because it really stood out to me. And his post in the description was um, expert in uh, ground defense against knife, and I'm like, how do you like? How could you coin yourself that? Like, so every given interaction, sparring, resistance, whatever you're doing, that thing never touches you. Or is it you're an expert in relaying the concepts? That I think I'm a little more flexible with that. Like, I actually a little flexible, I should say, not more, because I'm not flexible at all with the previous. Um,
Yeah.
But if you could relay the concepts really efficiently and well, maybe you're an expert at relaying. I don't know.
Yeah, again, I don't disagree with you. I think there's one of the things that gets me is like, I watch these videos and like I now I'm going to teach you the five basic strikes of stick fighting, and the first thing they do is they put their hand out and they chamber the stick, and I'm like in my head I'm thinking broken hand, you know, broken hand,
Yeah.
broken hand, and it's just like, it's like anything else. Like if a person says they're an awesome boxer, a real boxer is going to pick them apart in 2 seconds. That person's never boxed before, it,
I mean, like
I,
expert. Like in other words, okay, Floyd Mayweather was an expert in boxing. So does that mean like he has gotten hit less than your average fighter, or does that mean he was an expert in the Philly shell and defensively?
Yeah, well, he was
And
a fantastic fighter, but how is he as a teacher? Because that's part of it as well, right?
that's
Could be just
relaying. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The whole expert thing, I've always it's kind of up there with GM, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a weird situation, right? Because there's some things I don't know, like when the whole expert thing, you can take it and turn it around so many different ways. I think for me, like the one that really gets me is when the people start talking about, this is how the military acts. Oh, what branch of the military are you in? Oh, I wasn't. But
It's just what they do.
this is what they do. Well, who taught you that? It's like, oh, this guy, you wouldn't know him. Like that's the kind of stuff that makes me insane. It'd be different if someone trains with whoever, like, because is it is it Todd Fauci or Fossey or
Todd Fawcett, yep.
yeah, or like and his best friend Tim Kennedy. Like
Mm.
it'd be different if you train with one of those guys and say, "This is what Tim taught me because of A, B, and C." It's like going back to my story about when I was at the range and I'm shooting pie plates, and the guy beside me who the computer programmer is telling me that I'm doing everything wrong because I should be doing this. Meanwhile, someone who's actually shot people is teaching me is talking about how to train center mass, right?
Hey,
So
just to remind people, what I think, in all fairness, you need to tell what you told the guy.
I just told him to go fuck himself. I said, why don't you just stick to, you know, s- when he said I'm a computer programmer, and I'm like, just you should stick with that. And then I ended it with, go fuck yourself, and I turned my back to him. Um, and I would probably not have done that. There's a 60% chance I would have not done that if he approached me differently. If he
I
would have
just
said,
say
"Hey,
in a
I've never
place
seen."
of business, people around, and you just tell them.
Well, that's the thing too, is like I pay to be there. I'm on my time, and I'm training something from someone who has been in firefights, right? So who am I going to listen to, right? If you would have said, "Hey, I've never seen that drill before. What are you doing?" Or
Sure,
maybe,
different, yeah.
you know, I'm a IPSC guy, and we shoot like this, and can I show you how I would do this? And it would be like, okay, well, all right, why not, right? But to come out there and like just like this is how you do things, you're doing it wrong, and it's like,
And I'm a computer programmer.
and how to write a nasty email about you, and it bothers me, right? It's like anything else, and I think that's what's happening in the world of martial arts now too. Is like
Social media, especially in social media, because now you're not in front of the person.
it's yeah, you're not in front of the person. Now, there's a lot of people out there who mouth off who would never do that. Like
That's the way. That's a there. But yeah,
when I was younger, Dean, I used to get really upset sometimes, and I'd literally drive to the person's house, and it didn't matter if they were in the U.S. or not. I would get really, really upset about things like that. And there's been times where it's like someone says something about me, and I'll call them, and they won't answer, and it's just like, man, like, if you have the balls to type it, you should have the balls to answer face to
that's why I'm
face.
very like I make sure I really think things out before I answer people on social media because I always go with the mindset. Would you say this? Like, how would you treat this person that if they were right in front of you? So when I
Mhm.
write something on there, I pretend they're there because it just keeps me in alignment. You know what I mean? Where I
Hey,
don't
it's
go
kind of
off. You know?
it's kind of like I don't know who it was. It was like a late night TV guy who would would get people on the street and say, "What do you think of Conor McGregor?" And people are like, "Ah, he's a piece of crap," and this, that, and the other, and Conor's like standing behind him, or Mike Tyson standing behind him, or Rampage did it as well, and then all of a sudden they change their tunes, like, "Oh, I was just kidding, dog," right? It's like, no, you weren't.
Hey,
It's like F around and find out scenario. Now you're about to find out this person's right behind you.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I always feel like they're there because it to me it just keeps me because yeah, I don't know, it works for me. Seth, Renee, drive here. Steaks are on Milo.
One day, for sure, for sure.
You'll be in the house with 7 footers. And I
That
mean,
that sounds like a horror movie. The House of Seven
oh
Footers.
my God, the house of 7 footers, starring the Raymonds.
It's like, here's your steak, and it's like bigger than my body.
Oh my God. That's funny. Size deep. Okay, here we go. Size deeply. Computer programmer looks at BS and comp science, MS and comp. I agree with your point, Renee. They should be able to stand behind what they say and cash the checks they wrote. Rich Parson.
Hey, listen, there's been a few times in my life that I've run my mouth and paid for it.
And checks were cashed.
Oh yeah, and they were cashed in blood sometimes, and um, I stood my ground until I realized I made a mistake, and but those are lessons learned, right?
Which now is wisdom for you now today.
Sometimes, sometimes.
But uh, actually, you know what I got to do? I'm going to send you a picture. Um, I think you're gonna find this funny.
I won't be able to see it though. I have to jump off to see it.
Oh, I'll send you later. But basically, it's Mike sent me a picture of Seth. Um, so just so when you go down there for dinner,
Was that is that when he's at the doorway and the top of the door is like at his eye level?
no, this is he's just standing in the living room. He barely fits in the whole picture frame, and he's got. It's actually, yeah. It's I don't know if you can see this. Can you?
Not really.
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
You
Anyway,
put it on. Let me see it again. A lot of human. A lot of fucking human, man. It's like I think, like I mentioned before, like the time I had my had a picture taken with Mike Tibbetts,
oh
and
yeah,
then I
he's up there. Yeah.
and I and I came across a picture, and I'm like, oh, is that Mike Tibbetts' like little kid, like his son or something? And I was like, oh shit, that's me. Like, it's like he's and like the thing I mentioned before, like when I meet people, I always see them as my height. Like when I look at people and talk to people, I don't see them bigger or smaller. I always see them the same size. It's not until I see a picture that I actually get an idea of how big the person was. And that dude's fucking huge, man. Like
Look at
he's
it.
a
Look at this. I'm 7. I'm 7 foot. My twin is 6'9". My dad is 6'9". Uh, yes, you were very handsome in that sense. I'm just preparing you for when you go down for your dinner. Yeah. That's all. I just wanted you to know what you're fully getting into.
so
So
going back to social media, like the one thing I've also found too is that how some students all of a sudden start to act like they're teachers, or like start to think that, oh, I take this course and now I'm a badass too, and it just like some of that shit just drives me bananas. Or
where
they
was
get
your head?
involved,
Oh,
or they
Eric's got
get
a
in.
question. I'm sorry. Eric's got a question. I'm sorry. Renee, where's your headbutt going to land on Seth?
I'm 5'8", so so
Being
yeah,
a stomach.
yeah, yeah, that's little kid size, I guess.
uh, yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry. Back to the social media.
Yeah, I'm just saying how what I find a lot too nowadays, and it happened in my day as well, is how people will get into, again, it's a hobby, and they get into this, whatever course or whatever they're taking, and all of a sudden they get involved in the politics, and it's just like, it's like, man, like you live a normal life. Like there's no need for you to get into all this politics and
Mm.
drama and shit. Like, are you actually willing to fight for this kind of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, and they jump on because they feel the need. They have to, be on that side and be right behind. Yeah, I know, but
I've had a few people who, like, even like, recently, it's like, oh, just see so and so's comment, and are you going to jump in? And I was like, what for? Like, dude, I left high school in 1990.
I know it's oh God, I know. Oh, it's just ridiculous how some of these people act. I know, and and that's another thing too with these generalizations. Back to that.
And it's like, hey, someone voices their opinion, let them voice it. If you don't like it, then why are you talking to me about it?
But yeah, when you make generalizations though, and people, those who will come out and like kind of correct or give more substance to your generalization, and then it's funny how you see those people automatically kind of get somewhat defensive, but they can't get real defensive because they were kind of proved wrong, but yet they're still trying to hold on to what they said or give rationale why they did it. You know, that's
There
always
was Sensei E, like Shin Kali from Tokyo, cool cat, really like him. Met him at a gathering, God, a long time ago, but he posted a video of his guys doing something, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. And it was one of those days when my fingers had their own mind, and they started typing stuff, and I was like, wow, this is brutal. And then he replied, he's like, well, it is, but this is what I'm trying to teach. And then it made sense, and I was like, okay, cool, maybe you should lead with that, right? So, but it was cool. It was someone who took the criticism
yeah,
and actually had an answer for what he was actually doing.
yeah, right. And he didn't take like he was able to.
Yeah, he wasn't
Uh,
like fuck you, my system's better
no,
than
yeah,
yours.
I
And
know, I know. Like, yeah, I know. Some people get very. I've seen that too, though. That very defensive because they're getting corrected or suggested to, or like that, and you see that very, that defensive aspect come out, right?
I had a social media person like once try to tee off of me about that, and it was like it was some video somebody posted, and I basically said, "Wow, this is actually really bad. It's garbage." And it's
True,
like they
true.
started like, "Why would you say that? And what makes you the authority?" And I said, "I never said I'm the authority. I just don't like it, and that's it. And I don't
Mhm.
personally give a shit what you think." And after that, it was like, it's like, okay,
You
I
know, a
guess
lot
this
of these
guy's.
people they set themselves up, and I'll use a knife because that's kind of what obviously my major is. In other words, you'll put stuff on there, and from being in there, from feeling it, um, that it's not going to pan out, and then when they do get critiqued, not even necessarily criticized, critiqued, they get all defensive of that. But you're like, well, would you expect was going to happen if you posted this? Like, what'd you think? Like, nobody was going to rebut or critique, your methodology. Like, what'd you think? You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah, I don't, outside of the my videos that I have on Toro Clan, I really don't really post things very often, just because um, A, I don't really think I have that much stuff to show, and B, I get annoyed by people. It's like, it, forgot, it was a video that was posted a while back, and someone was like, well, in my system, we wouldn't do that. We do this and this. And I was like, You know, what's your actual point? Like, what are you trying to tell me?
And who cares? My
Like
system.
in my system,
I've got a couple of
we
those.
wear,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like in my system, we wear thongs and tight pants. It doesn't, I don't really care, you know? Like, how does that change?
yeah.
Ah, whatever.
I've gotten a few of those on my like the few times I posted knife defenses and FMA discussion. Um, well, my system we do it. I'm like, but then I go, could you show a video? Crickets.
Crickets. Yeah.
I always do that. Like I just like I don't get flustered. I don't go in attack mode. I just say, oh, but interesting. Do you have a video you can post? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing when people start talking about, the achievements they won through stick fighting. And it's like, okay. And it was recent. Do you have any videos on that? Like, because it's impossible nowadays, you know, not to have, especially when it comes to a tournament like that and with
Oh,
people.
yeah, everybody's
And it's
filming.
like, oh, and then they can't show it. It's like, oh, someone posts a clip. It's like, well, I wasn't told the rules before the engagement started, so that's why they got the first hit. Or, it's like, oh, my whatever, my shoulder was hurting me that day, and it's like, dude, you just got rocked. Like one of my favorite videos is when Arlen knocks me out. It wasn't like I literally to me it was like it was beautiful. It was just such a great setup. And I thought I was gonna hurt him that day. I thought I was gonna like, like rock him and he knocked me out. And I could
Mm,
tell, like I was just like you know, moving around and boom, out.
it was yeah. That's oof.
And it's like, oh, it doesn't look like he hit you that hard. I'm like, you're welcome to go to him, stand in front of him and let him hit you when you can actually feel the
Oh
impact in your toes.
God. Yeah, yeah. If you're that stupid and you really need to feel it.
Yeah, but going back to like the whole Grandmaster thing, I would say, like a person like Top Dog, like Eric Knaus, like he's a master of his field. Like he definitely he's
Yeah.
some, but he doesn't. You'll never hear him say that. He never even calls himself coach, which to make me like doubles down on the fact that he is that.
Here's an idea. Let's mention some people who we think are. Like I think Bert Richardson is all day long. Guy
Hmm.
can do everything in every range. I'm not
Hmm.
saying like, at his age, but what I'm saying is he is fluent in every freaking range in different arts. You know what I mean? Like and you can see definitely evolution. You can see in his student, definitely taught, teaches. I mean, so in my opinion, he is absolutely there. You got another one? Who do you got? I'll think of
Well,
another.
I definitely say Eric. Um, someone who started in Pikiti and then his evolution and what he brought to the stick fighting game. Like, I think the closest to him would probably be like Lonely, like Benjamin, someone who's really helped things evolve as well. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody move like Eric and do the things that he does and have the best attitude about it too.
Yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
I see, like people don't realize he pulls shots sometimes. Like he'll have a clean line to take your head off your body, and he won't. He might just tap you with a stick or just like laugh about it. And
But
when you
knowing
watch
how
the
that
video,
was like,
oh yeah, I was so out of my league when we crossed paths that I was like it was pretty terrifying. But again, he had such a great attitude about it. Like him, definitely. As mentioned before, I think Tuhon Philip. He's again. I remember picking things apart about certain Sagitas or whatever, and you could just tell me the moves and everything else. And the one thing about his swing, it's always a crisp, clean line. It doesn't deviate. Like his
mm,
ones and twos are always in the same area. They're not like all over the place. But just someone again who's multiple art.
Oh
and
yeah,
multiple disciplines.
JKD, PTK, and everything. Oh yeah, no, for sure,
Oh,
for sure.
Kajukenbo, Jiu-Jitsu,
Right, right, right. Yeah,
Silat, you know, and then there's some of the karate stuff he did as well,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
don't.
No, he's no, yeah. I can't argue from a separate. If you're talking about, I'm trying to think who else here. Besides,
He's, by the way, like also folks that are listening, these are the people that I know that are within the communities that I hang out in. So there's people outside of that that I just don't know that possibly are the
yeah, yeah,
same
right,
or are
right.
the
We're
same.
just right. We're really going from personal experience, right? So yeah, folks, if you got names, let us know who you think are legit GMs, whether they have the title or not. You know what I mean? But they meet your criteria, right? Um,
Well, Datu Warden, right? He's up there.
I would have to say Datu. Just again, you know,
And if you want to look at
experience,
it from the people that
art.
he's produced, he's got some top tier
No,
instructors and
no, for
fighters
sure.
that come out of his camp.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I can't argue against Datu. Yeah.
And I've never personally trained with him,
Mm.
but I know some of his people. And if you go back to the source, that's and some of the stuff that I've seen him do, that's pretty damn
No, no,
awesome.
Datu, I think is 100% fair. Yeah, yeah. Dan Asano, obviously, we that goes without saying, right?
Hmm.
Um,
And
you
going
know,
back to Burton, like the one thing I love about Burton is besides that he puts up with my sense of humor, um, is that he's there moving. He's moving around. Like you see him pulling his videos and stuff. He's not
yeah,
just like, you put your hand here and then I'm going to pluck it out of the way and hit you. Like he's moving out of motion. He's applying out of motion.
100, 100. And you know what? He's still, like, in my opinion, he's still like a student at heart. Like he's still willing to learn and there doesn't have hardly that attitude, the dismissive attitude, or that he's doing like some of these guys who got GM titles and names. I don't really see them as students or evolving. You know what I mean? Like the
Or
title's been bestowed upon them for various criteria that we mentioned, but I don't know. I don't look at them as students. I don't see them doing new things or whatever.
or approachable, like Burton's super super approachable. So is Philip, so is Eric.
Joe, okay, you passed away. Yeah, remember hearing about him. Okay. He was an
Who's
Anasamo guy, if I'm not mistaken.
who's that?
Joe Simonet. He lived in the West Coast, Upper West Coast. I think Anasano was under Dan Anasano. Maybe I'm assuming other stuff as well. Um,
But so was Salim. Salim was actually really good at what he did as well, right?
who's that?
Salim, the
Oh, the Savant.
yeah.
Yeah, like within his thing, right? Within his craft, there, that would
Hmm.
be fair, right? For sure. Um,
Paturel out of France.
Yeah, huh? I interviewed him with he's something, huh?
Yeah, that guy was a hardcore cop, like a hardcore cop. And I know a couple cops out that way, and that's a whole different ball of
He must be
wax.
sick on what's going on over there now, right?
And but like besides besides like Box de Rue and everything that all the stuff that he's doing out there, like that man is hardcore, and he's I think what also is a sign that you reach that kind of GM level is when it's multi-generational, people
Mm.
that may have never trained with you, but they give you nothing but respect.
Yeah,
Or
they've heard it, or yeah,
this
yeah,
is this is the man I learned it from, right? This is the bad man who
yeah.
taught me.
And there's, of course, there's folks that are GMs that obviously, let's say, no, I'm not going to go down negative here, that we don't feel that are, you know what I mean? But it might be bestowed on them because of the structure of the system, and we can't. And I don't. And again, I don't think that's their fault at all times. You know what I mean? Because they might not have asked for it. It might have been bestowed upon them just by the nature and the criteria of that system, or whatever, right?
I remember when my instructor was trying to give me my JKD certification, and I said no. And because at that point in my life, I was still somewhat a little crazy still. And I remember we're sitting in his living room, and he's like, "Okay, you are, you know, you're whatever level, whatever it was." And I was like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "No, you don't understand. Like you are." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And we got into an actual like argument where it was like, and I was
Yeah.
like standing up. I was like, "F you! I'm not doing this." Oh yeah, because it was like, again, this is still in my crazy party days, and I was, and
Yeah.
bouncing in some pretty crazy places. And he was even more back then, pretty well known. And I was like, I can't have that responsibility
Yeah.
of me doing something stupid. And then they're like, I know that
You-
guy.
um, who else outside? Obviously, goes without saying some of the incredible grappler, BJJ guys. You know what I mean? Obviously, within their craft, right? Machados, the Gracies, right? You know,
I think, listen, I have nothing but respect for a lot of those guys. Like a lot of respect. I think the one thing that got me was when they started posting videos of some of the knife defense stuff that they were doing, or
they were Gracie
done.
combatives. Some of that was
They
a
just,
little
listen,
frightening. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you guys can hate me if you want me to, if you want to, excuse me, but I did not get that. It was just like
Hmm. No,
he's
some of
got
it
a
was pretty scary.
he's got a knife, get him to the ground. It's like,
No, some of it was just darn right scary. Yeah. No, no. I know exactly what. Yeah. What do you mean? It just.
I
Yeah.
think it was at that point. I think it was a way of trying to get a bigger audience and marketing by
Oh, for sure. I think so.
by,
For
get,
sure.
by getting out of the sports and
Yeah.
saying, look how real this is. And I think, listen, I think jujitsu's got some real life applications, especially if you're in law enforcement and whatnot.
Mm.
I think it's
I think it's
I don't
needed. Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't make that compulsory. Like you have to do this.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe it is, and I don't know about it, but it
I
wasn't.
know. Matter of fact, I don't think it is because I've had cops on here before. Shows that one of my shows I did was why do police officers not taking, why are they not mandated to train this stuff and all that? And the people I had on it saying that funding, the departments don't do it, so it's guys on their own volition and interest kind of do it. But
But
yeah,
wouldn't you want to
oh,
like
I told no, no, I
if
that's
you
what I said. Yeah, I totally
if you're
agree
a
with
cop, if you're a
you. Hmm.
cop, like it's like, okay, sorry, we don't train you
I
guys how to
matter of
shoot.
fact,
I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna
Ken
go out there and look for somebody.
Ken Jowers is one of them. He's right here, and basically, it's really up to the individual. Now, I think there's courses offered if my memory serves me correct, but not compulsory, like he just mentioned. Yeah, you would think they would want to. Like, I know if I'm in that job, I want to be the best version of myself to go home, right?
I want to learn everything about all the equipment I have
I
on. Like,
mean, you know,
I mean, to a T. If I have a malfunction, I should be able to strip that firearm down and rebuild it. And as a civilian, I do that because I want to make sure that I can take care of these things, right? And
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a amazing shooter or anything else, because I'm not. But like Christ, like my truck, I work on my truck, and half the time it's just I watch a YouTube video, but um, I want to be able to do that work if I had to. I want to have at least a basic set of tools so I can
Especially because
fix
you're dealing
things
with
around me.
threats. You're dealing with, I mean, just the nature of the job. Like, if you want to get home unscathed or to have the best, highest percentage of that, I mean, right? Wouldn't you take it upon yourself, like to, But again, it's easy for me to say. I mean, job, family time, et cetera, et cetera. But
Actually, I got two masters for you, or two people, and you tell me which one the master is. Robert De Niro or Al Pacino?
Pacino. I lost a lot for De Niro. A lot of respect for him. Yeah. We talked to many officers, Costs way too much. If yeah, 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 I know. You generally love the mindsets. Um, yeah. There, but what time we got? Any closing out because I do got to run in a bit. Um,
No, honestly, like I guess I'll say this, like these are obviously my opinions, and sometimes it's especially when it comes to the master thing, it's when we're talking about, learning and application and whatnot. It's definitely a fine line when it comes to all that stuff. I think, but main thing I'd like to say is, Happy New Year to everybody. Um, I actually really look forward to these conversations that we have. And
yeah, so we got to generate lists, folks. Obviously, we'll be continuing in the year 2026. FMA discussion will be too, just nowhere's as frequent in the previous years. Is all.
um, we actually just chatted about this the other day, but I thought maybe I'd just throw it out there for everybody. I was speaking with Arlen and with Eric about this, and spoke with Dean about it as well as about getting people to send in some of their fight videos who do stick fight or stick spar, and having both of them kind of break down their videos and giving us some pointers. So if you're interested in something like that, just let
That'd
us
be
know.
neat. I mean, you have two legends there critiquing videos, right? I mean, that's um,
Well, it's going to be four legends, but hey,
oh, four legends.
yeah.
Well, we should just. I think we should coin ourselves GMs of bringing people on, right? I mean, I don't know what's.
Well, one of us has to be the alpha, and one of us has to be the beta. So
Oh, so one's got to be GM, one just got to be M. You
no,
know.
it'd be like the master alpha or the master beta.
Oh, we're gonna okay. We'll pull a page out of uh, whatever that show was that's escaping me right now. Um, right, Master Alpha or Master Beta. Okay. Hmm.
Oh, it's a toss. It's a toss.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to sleep on it. If that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, craziness.
So, well, hey, Happy New Year to you and the family.
Happy New Year to you and yours.
And
I'm a little worried. My dog disappeared, so I don't know what she's destroying right now.
I'm sure it's something really good. You know, probably tasty.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be in
All right.
touch.
You got it. All right.
All right.
Take it easy, guys. Happy New Year.
And that concludes day two. FMA discussion. Who is next? I honestly don't know. I will be having somebody on. A couple folks are supposed to get back to me, kind of same old song and dance, but I will be getting somebody on. If you got suggestions, you like to hear somebody or see somebody, by all means, send me a message. All right, folks. Well, to all of you, thank you for those who watched, commented, and Happy New Year to all of you. And we'll see you, I'm sure, next week on one of the shows.